Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how I created this drawing of my boyfriend's beautiful eye, and my program is Clip Studio Paint, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, when I start this one out, I start by taking a color from my reference picture and I draw the basic outline and shape of the eye. And I know it jumps ahead a little bit, but I just took some base colors from the reference and filled in the surrounding skin tones. Next thing I'm going to do is just darken the outline to emphasize the eye's shape and crease and give it a little bit more definition.
Only to be let down time after time. This one's for the torn down, the experts at the fall. Come on friends, get up now.
Here I made a new layer for the colored section of the eye, and I'm going to eventually place that layer underneath the skin tones layer. I take more colors from the reference, now from the blue and green spots, to create a base layer for the eye's color. I don't worry too much about precision here, mostly I just want the general idea of where the colors are going to appear. Next, what I do is take the fingertip blending tool and blend the colors together. You still want differentiation between the colors and not just a definitionless patch of color. If it looks like that, then you blended too much and you might want to go back and redefine your colors. Okay, now I've just created a third layer for the white of the eye. This layer will eventually be underneath all the other layers you have at this point. I'm also going to get a general base for the corner of the eye in this layer as well. And then eventually I will blend all of that together. I also went back and blended the skin layer as well. However, I forgot to capture that on the video part, so that's my bad. Now I'm going back in and defining more shadows and highlights around the eye. Pro tip, you don't want to forget to save often, because if your computer crashes and you lose your work, you're going to be really upset. Okay, now I'm going back to the iris and creating a new layer to go above the base color I laid down before. This is the detail layer, so I like to zoom in nice and close to make sure I'm as accurate as possible. This layer is where I create most of the highlights and smaller shadows within the eye. This is the part that usually takes me the longest on a piece like this. After a while, it can get pretty tedious, but it's definitely worth having the extra detail in there because it really brings your drawing to life. And you can't forget to add in the shadow cast by the eyelashes either. This will add a lot more depth to your piece. Okay, now I'm extending the skin tones a little further out to make room for the eyebrow and add that highlight from the cheekbone, only to blend it all together yet again. When I blend, I typically like to use the Soothing Watercolor Blending tool. It works really well for large areas and can also put an interesting texture into the piece. Okay, so as you can see, I've started drawing in the eyebrow, and typically I like to try to take note of the general length and direction that the hair goes. Here I'm just touching up areas around the eye and going back in and adding more detail to the corner of the eye as well.
I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us.
And back at it again with the highlights and shadows. It's really a continuous process that goes throughout the entire piece.
Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify?
Quick song change before I add some eyelashes. Now that I'm adding them, I don't want to make them too long or too dark, otherwise they will look unnatural. The bottom lashes are also typically lighter than the upper lashes.
From a creek we used to roam, but it would remind us of when nothing really mattered. Out of student loans and treehouse homes, we all would take a ladder. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think.
What I did really quick right there was add a layer that goes in the very bottom that I fill with 1 or 2 skin tones that go under some areas that are blended too much and come off slightly transparent. This layer makes these colors richer and much more defined. Now I'm going to add in some more highlights, which I will then blend out, only to have to reconstruct shadows yet again. I like to blur out the edges and give it a more comfortable composition that fades to the background instead of having too harsh of a line where the drawing stops. I feel like it really brings the entire piece together and makes it more compositionally and aesthetically pleasing.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now wish to stop. Wish we could turn back time to the good old
And just a few more touch-ups to help really bring this to life. I always make sure to add my signature on another layer just in case I need to take it off, move it, change the color. That way it's flexible. And that brings us to the end of my first tutorial time-lapse kind of video. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of process and maybe I'll make more in the future. Thanks for watching!